come and cook along with us. So just to introduce myself again, I'm Kavita, and I'm a trained nutritionist by profession. So I've trained in the UK. I've done a BSc and an MSc in nutrition. And I have a love and passion for cooking and trying out new recipes and new ideas. All of this kind of came about also from about a year and a half ago when I turned vegan myself and kind of really started to explore and found that actually in Nairobi there's not a lot of sort of healthy vegan options available in terms of especially desserts and sweet things. And being a sweet tooth myself, I kind of just started creating a few things on my own. And family and friends, they would try it and they were like, wow, this is really nice stuff. And yeah, you need to start selling it. So just kind of created a small little home business for myself here, selling like vegan, gluten-free, refined sugar-free things. It's known as Kavz Kuizine. Some of you may have heard of it. And that's kind of how it all began. But I've always kind of loved cooking and experimenting, and yeah, that's what we're going to do today. So today we're focusing on a nice 3-course Diwali meal, plus like a nice drink that you can have as well. I do tend to kind of go a little bit fast, so if I need to slow down, please just either wave. I've got my cameraman Shilin here as always, so just give him a little wave or just unmute yourselves and speak up and just tell me to go slowly. It is a very informal session as well, so if you have any questions along the way, please just don't hesitate to ask as well. So I'll be sharing a few tips along the way, some nutritional information along the way as well. But like I said, if you have any questions about anything related to healthy eating, nutrition, please do feel free to ask. Okay, so just to quickly, hopefully you all had the recipes sent to you, and hopefully you've kept everything ready and chopped like was suggested on the recipes. And can we just get a show of hands? How many people are actually cooking along? Can you just like raise your hand or just give us a wave if you're actually cooking along with us today? If you've got everything ready and you're cooking along. Can we just have a little wave of hands? And we'll just scroll through and have a look. Anyone said?
Everyone's off video.
Okay, everyone's off video. My cameraman is telling us. Okay, that's fine. Hopefully some of you are cooking along. But if you're just watching, it's okay. This recording, I think this is being recorded, so hopefully we can share it with you later if you did want to go through it. And you always have the recipes, so you can make it whenever you want anyway. Okay, so we're going to be doing a spiced rooibos mocktail. So this is like a really nice spicy drink, and it's really nice to have it either hot or cold. And I'll talk to you a little bit about the ingredients as we start. And then we're going to be doing a tofu matar paneer. So again, a nice alternative, nice healthy alternative to paneer. We're going to use tofu instead. And again, I'll talk to you why tofu is so much healthier for us. And then we're going to do a seed crisp bread chaat. So again, with Diwali coming up, we all kind of want to indulge and eat lots of nice food. And it doesn't all have to be unhealthy. So we can have lots of healthy things and still indulge and enjoy ourselves as well. So we'll do a nice variation like of a healthy kind of a chaat. And then the final things are healthy for Lugo that we're going to do. So again, nice simple ingredients, things that are all available in Nairobi, and just really easy things to kind of put together so you know that you're being healthy, you're treating your body well, but still enjoying at the same time. So what we're going to do, we're going to kind of go back and forth with the recipes because some things need to kind of sit and soak for a little while, like the seed bread and the chia seed mixture for the faludas. So we're going to kind of go a little bit back and forth. But just, keep up with me. And if I need to slow down, please let me know. So let's make a start with the crisp bread mixture first, because this one we need to allow it to sit for about 30 minutes before we put it in the oven to bake. So if you have a nice big mixing bowl like this, we'll just kind of put everything together. So let me just, my cameraman is just going to kind of zoom in on what I'm doing here, so you can have a look. So if we just follow the recipe here, and then while we're kind of mixing and doing things, I will talk to you a little bit about the different seeds and why they're good for us. So if you have a little quarter cup measure, we're going to measure out a quarter cup of all the seeds. So we have sunflower seeds here. So just go ahead and measure out a quarter cup of sunflower seeds, just a nice level cup. Pumpkin seeds as well. So nice pumpkin seeds here. A quarter cup of these as well. So this crisp bread is really nice and easy to make. It's a kind of very versatile recipe. You can kind of add different flavors to it. So today we're doing like a little bit of an Indian flavor using some turmeric, some hing, so harda and hing, and a little bit of chili and salt, so a little bit more Indian flavors. But you can actually also make it kind of with any kind of flavors. So you can add mixed herbs to it, rosemary, oregano, thyme, all these kind of mixed herbs to make it into like a nice Italian sort of crisp bread. It's great to snack on. It's great to put like as a topping on salads. If you want a little sort of, instead of croutons, you could put it on salad as well. So lots of things you can do with this crisp bread. And then a quarter cup of chia seeds as well. So just put those in. And then we have ground flax seeds. So a quarter cup as well as ground flax seeds. So ground flaxseed especially is a really nice thing to use to help you bind things. So when you need things to kind of stick together and bind, ground flaxseeds especially are a very nice thing to use for that. And both chia and flaxseed actually make really good egg substitutes as well. So a tablespoon of each of these, again, ground flaxseeds are always better than the whole ones, or a whole chia seed. So a tablespoon each of these mixed with 3 tablespoons of water makes a really nice egg substitute. So that equals 1 egg. So 1 tablespoon of the seed, one of the seeds, plus 3 tablespoons of water equals 1 egg. So if you ever need to substitute in a recipe egg, then you can use that sort of measurement. And if you need 2 eggs, you obviously just double up the measurements. Okay, and then we have oats. So we're using a quarter cup of oats as well. So we can pop those in. And then finally, quarter cup of spelt flour. So spelt is a really nice old ancient grain. It's actually much, much older than wheat. So wheat, many of you may or may not know, wheat is actually quite a new grain. And it has a lot of gluten in it. But with spelt, it's a much more ancient grain. And the gluten content is actually much, much lower. So people who often can't digest or tolerate wheat very well are often okay with spelt because of the lower gluten content. So wherever possible, try to use spelt. You can use it in exactly the same way as wheat. So it makes really nice rotis. You can make bread out of it. You can use it kind of for any of your baking as well. So it's just a nice, healthier alternative to wheat that we can use. Just quickly a point about oats as well. So oats are super, super healthy for us as well. They're very good for helping to lower cholesterol. So they have something called lignans in it, which are basically like a soluble fiber. And what this does is it helps up to mop up all of the bad cholesterol in our blood. It kind of sticks to it and mops it all up and helps to flush it out of the body. So oats make a really, really nice, healthy breakfast. You can put them in smoothies, make muffins and baking stuff out of it as well. You can grind oats as well and use it as a flour as well. So I often make oat and banana pancakes. So just grind up oats used as a flour, mashed with some banana, a little bit of cinnamon, vanilla in there, and makes really, really nice pancakes. So oats are a really nice sort of healthy breakfast option to use as well. They also contain more protein and healthy fats than most other grains as well. So it's a nice healthy grain to kind of use in our, to include in our diets. Okay, so let me just see, where are we? So we've put in everything. So we're going to do the olive oil next. So a nice good splash of olive oil. We can put about 2 to 3 tablespoons of olive oil here. So, sorry, it's just a new bottle. Need a little bit of help opening it. So seeds, let me talk to you a little bit about seeds when we get our olive oil open. So seeds are actually very high in minerals, fiber, vitamins, and antioxidants as well. Now, if you think of what a seed is a starting point of a plant. That's what a plant actually grows from. An adult plant grows from a little seed. So they're actually nutrition powerhouses, we call them, because they have all the starting materials that is necessary for a little plant, baby, to basically to grow into a big adult complex plant. So there's full of lots of nutrition because that's what's needed, obviously, to grow into an adult plant. So a really nice thing, again, to include into your diet. You can use all these kinds of seeds as toppings for salads and smoothies, as a porridge topping. You can make granolas out of it, mueslis out of it. Lots and lots of uses for seeds. So try and always get some seeds into your diet. They also have lots of healthy fats in them, like monounsaturated, polyunsaturated fats. And those of us who are vegetarian and vegan, we don't get a lot of omega-3 in our diet. So seeds also will provide you with a little bit of omega-3 as well. So a nice addition to the diet. Seeds also, by the way, help to reduce blood sugar levels, cholesterol, and blood pressure as well. Okay, so we're just going to add in our olive oil now. So 2 to 3 tablespoons of olive oil. I'm going to go ahead and put about 3 tablespoons just so we have a nice kind of moist crisp spread. Well, the dough anyway. So 3 tablespoons of olive oil. Okay, let's get everything in here quickly and then we'll just let the dough sit for a while. So like I mentioned, we're kind of doing this like an Indian crisp spread. So we're going to put a few of our Indian spices now. So herder, turmeric, you can put a 1/4 teaspoon of turmeric into here. Sprinkle it in, and same for hing, asafoetida or hing. So hing is really, really good for our digestion. So again, very nice to kind of include that in our food, especially if you're making sort of pulses and beans and lentils. Always put a little bit of hing in there just to kind of help with the gassiness of the lentils and beans. And then we need salt. So those of you who have seen some of my cooking programs before, I like to use pink Himalayan salt rather than our sort of white table salt. So pink Himalayan salt actually has 84 different minerals in there that our body needs. Whereas white salt, if you think about white salt, it's just 2 minerals, sodium and chloride. So wherever possible, try and get your hands on some pink Himalayan salt. It's available, I've seen it in pretty much all our sort of good Indian ration stores. So pick up some pink Himalayan salt to use. And we're going to put 1/2 teaspoon. Again, with salt, it's very much on taste. So if you tend to use less salt in your food, you can put less. If you like a little bit more salt, go ahead and add a little bit more. But to start off with, I'm going to add sort of 3/4 teaspoon of salt. And then the final couple of things, some chili flakes. So just to add a nice little kick to it. Again, depending on your chili preference, go ahead and add a little less, a little more. So a small sprinkle of some chili flakes in there. And then the final thing, 1/2 cup to about 1 cup of water. So start with 1/2 cup first. Let's go my water. So start with pouring about 1/2 cup of water and see how your mixture is looking. And then as the seeds kind of absorb everything, we may need to add a little bit more. So go ahead and add your water in there and then give it a good stir. Give it a nice good mix. It may look a little bit runny at the moment. So like I said, just add half a cup of water for now. But remember, things like the chia seeds and the flax seeds and the oats a little bit as well will absorb some of the water. So if we need to add a little bit more, we can. So I've added just over 1/2 cup. And this is what my mixture is looking like. So just give it a nice good mix. And then we'll leave that to sit for about 20 to 30 minutes because the seeds need to absorb the water, especially things like chia seeds. So chia seeds are actually best eaten soaked in water rather than just kind of plain, or you can grind them up and eat them that way as well. So soaking and grinding really helps to increase the availability of the seeds and they're more easily digested, basically. So I'm going to add actually a little bit more water because it's already kind of looking a bit dry. And like I said, the seeds will absorb some water. So just go ahead and mix that up really well. So chia seeds again are a very good source of fiber. So if you suffer from constipation, just soaking 1 tablespoon of chia seeds overnight in like a small glass of water and then drinking it first thing in the morning is a great cure for constipation. It's much healthier than using laxatives and things which our bodies might become reliant on long term for constipation. So try to kind of use more natural things like chia seeds to relieve constipation. Okay, so I'll just leave that to soak for a while. So this is kind of what your mixture should look like. It should just be a bit gloopy at the moment. And then hopefully it will become a bit more firm as we leave it to sit. So you can leave that aside to sit for about 20 to 30 minutes as we move on to the next thing. Let me just make sure we've covered everything about seeds. Yeah, we talked about egg replacer. So pumpkin seeds and all the seeds basically a good source of healthy fats, like I said. They're also a good source of phytosterols, which are plant compounds that help to lower cholesterol. So that's another good benefit as well. Okay, so that is the seed crisper that's soaking now. So what we can do next is also soak the chia seeds for the faluda, because like I mentioned, chia seeds are best eaten soaked. So let me just get my recipe here. Okay, so the measurements we're going to follow is going to make like 1 cup of faluda. So if you'd like to make obviously more, like 2 or 3 portions, then please just double up the recipes. I'm going to mix everything up here in this kind of nice big glass. We'll have a nice big glass of faluda here. So we need 1.5 teaspoons of chia seeds. You can go ahead and measure this up again. 1.5. And then we're using this vermicelli here, this very thin kind of set. And we actually need to just soak this in a little bit of hot water. So I've got my kettle boiled here ready with hot water. And what we need to do is just soak it. So this set that I've got is a roasted vermicelli already. So again, just available in any Indian store. I think it's the same one that you make niti sev from. So we just need to, again, with these kind of measurements, you don't have to be like super exact. It's quite an easy recipe with a lot of leeway, so you don't have to be super exact. We're just gonna do about a tablespoon of the vermicelli rice noodles. So I'm just breaking them up here and putting them into a bowl. And then just let them soak for a little bit. So soaking them in hot water is going to soften them up, but also help to cook them a little bit as well. So this is boiling water, just cover it fully. And hopefully that should cook here. Okay, so we can leave that aside as well. We'll add that in later once it's softened up a little bit. Should be boiling hot water. Okay, and then we can mix up the rest of the ingredients. So the chia seeds can soak here. So I'm going to use almond milk to soak my chia seeds, but you can use really whatever milk you like. Coconut milk goes really nicely because it's a little bit thicker and sort of richer and creamier. But a lot of people don't like the taste of coconut, so you can just use almond milk, normal milk if you choose to have dairy, but any kind of milk just to soak it up in. So we're going to put 1 cup. So 1 cup of whichever milk you're choosing to use into your cup. Then we'll give that a nice stir. Okay, and then we're next going to add some rose water in there. So rose is actually a very, very soothing and calming flower, basically. So a lot of like rose essences, rose waters, people use them for a lot of things, but they actually have lots of nice properties. So rose is known to be antidepressant, anti-anxiety. It has properties to help with that. It helps to improve mood as well. Rose water itself is a very good skin tonic. So if you have a lot of skin irritations like acne or eczema or rosacea, rose water is a very, very good tonic to use for that. It's kind of anti-inflammatory as well, and antiseptic almost as well. So it's very good for healing as well. So a lot of properties that rose has. It helps to protect the skin against damage as well from the environment. That's why it makes a great skin tonic. Yeah, and it tastes really nice as well. So rose is actually one of my most favorite flavors to use. So I've just got some rose water, just natural pure rose water. And again, depending on how strong you like things or how sort of week you like them, you can add a little bit extra. So I'm just going to go ahead and put, it's got a lovely smell. I'm going to start with half a teaspoon and then we can taste it after and see whether we need to add more. Just half a teaspoon of the rose water. So traditionally in Faluda, they use rose sherbet, which I actually try and avoid because a lot of these ready syrups and things have lots of chemicals in them. They have lots of strong colorings and things. They also have a lot of sugar in them as well. If you look at the ingredients normally, like the first ingredient is always sugar. So it's always kind of best to try and avoid these syrups, ready-made syrups and things, and try to create your own natural flavors using very natural ingredients and products. So you can get essences of like orange, rose, lemon, pretty much any kind of flavor that you're looking for. They are available now. So always try and go for the sort of more pure things and then just mix it up, with different flavors to create your own sherbets, basically. So I put in half and then we can try it later to add a little bit more. And then a little drop of vanilla essence as well. So about a quarter teaspoon of vanilla. Again, a really nice pure flavor that you can use with anything, basically. So a quarter teaspoon of vanilla in there. So, so during my cooking shows, a lot of you will know I love to kind of promote local Kenyan products that we have available because there's so many great companies out there doing sort of really natural, pure things at the moment. So one of my favorite things is vanilla extract. This is a really nice, pure one that's made locally. And it basically has water, vanilla beans, and glycerin. That's it. So there's no alcohol, there's no sugar, there's no artificial flavorings or colorings or anything. So a lot of the times when you buy, if it says vanilla essence or vanilla extract from the supermarket and it's in those small bottles, if you look at the ingredients, there's no actual real vanilla in there. It's kind of an artificially made substance which is supposed to smell and taste like vanilla. It's not the pure stuff. So always look out for the pure things which says vanilla bean on it or vanilla pods, it might say sometimes, but make sure it's coming from the pure vanilla essence. So this is a really nice brand here. The company is called Nysinia Foods. So if you do want to order, you just get in touch with them directly. It's Nysinia Foods, yeah. So you can just look them up. We'll get a close up here if anybody wants to write the name down. You just have a close up there. If hopefully you have some pen and paper, you can just write it down. Okay, so we'll just go ahead and add the pink color as well now, just so that the flavors can kind of sit and see, really create nice flavors. So like I said about the food colorings and flavors and preservatives, we can create our own food colorings as well using a lot of natural things. So if you want a red color, raspberries or beetroot is a great way to kind of create that natural red coloring. So we're going to make a little bit, just to give our Faluda a nice pinky color. We're going to use raspberries, and actually raspberry, rose, vanilla, all these flavors actually go really well together. So it's a nice one to kind of just use here. So if you have a few raspberries, just put them into a bowl and then put a little splash of hot water into it to help the raspberries soften up a bit. Just about a tablespoon or so of hot water. And then we're just going to mash them up here. Just use the back of a spoon or something just to really smash your raspberries up. And you'll see we start to get a lovely pink, nice pink water coloring here. That's okay. You can, we're just going to sieve it later. You can even put the raspberry pulp that we're creating here. You can stick that into your Faluda as well if you want a stronger raspberry flavor. But if you prefer just to kind of stick to the rose and vanilla, then we'll just use the water just to give the coloring. You can see we're forming like a really nice kind of red color here. So just smash that up a little bit. Yeah, so always check your labels when you're using things like food flavors or food colorings. You know, always check the label to see what exactly is in these products that we're using. Right, so if you just have a sieve, you can kind of just sieve now the color into your rose sherbet. Might need a little bit more just to get nice, strong, if you like it sort of quite a strong. So about 3-4 tablespoons of the mixture to get that beautiful pink color. Like I said, beetroot would be another nice one to use here. It might actually give a stronger kind of red color. So you could just steam some beetroot, and then the water that's left behind, you can add a couple of tablespoons in there. Okay, so just give that a nice mix, and we can see, yeah, we can see it's turned sort of a beautiful light kind of pink color. Okay, so if you wanted obviously more flavored, you can go ahead and put some of the pulp in there as well. If not, you can just leave it as it is. Okay, so that's kind of the color it should be looking like. Okay, so we'll add our vermicelli noodles in a bit later. We'll just let them soak for a little bit longer. Otherwise, the noodle pretty much is almost done. We'll come back to it to add the noodles. Yeah, and then we'll talk about the ice cream and things later. So we'll leave that as it is for now. Right, so the next thing we're going to do is we can start to make our tomato sauce for the tofu butter paneer, because the longer we leave it to cook, the more flavors it's going to have in it, or the stronger the flavors will get rather. So let's start with that. So you need a nice big saucepan like this, and then just on a medium heat, we'll heat up the saucepan first. So I always like to heat up the saucepan first before I put my oil in, to kind of avoid damaging the oil too much on very high heat. So if your pan is already hot, you then put your oil in, it's exposed for a shorter time to very high heat, so the properties are kind of preserved in the oil. I like to use avocado oil for cooking. So avocado oil has a very high smoke point. So the good thing about this is that you don't destroy the properties of the oil at very high temperatures, because it smokes at a very high temperature. So yeah, basically you're preserving the properties and you're not turning the healthy fats in there into more damaging fats. So with a lot of the other oils like sunflower oil, corn oil, these kinds of oils, they have a lower smoke point. So when we heat them at very high temperatures, we're actually turning them into a more dangerous and more kind of unstable, unhealthy fat. So wherever you can, try to use coconut oil is another good one for high heat cooking. Some avocado oil. So I've just switched completely to avocado oil. I do all my avocado and everything basically in avocado oil, and it works really, really well. There's no like strong smell or taste. A lot of people are worried about, oh, is there a strong smell? Once all your flavors and masalas and things are in, there's no taste or smell basically. So it's a really nice one to use. So we'll just keep everything ready here. So we need our masala tin. You can get this, it's a Kavz avocado oil. I can share the contact somehow, maybe with Sonal later, and she can share it with all of you. I order it from my friend basically. They have, it's Kavz avocado oil that they supply. So I just order it directly from her, and she gives it to me in these nice big 750 ml bottles. So it's very kind of affordable as well in these kind of big bottles. So I can share the contact later, but otherwise look out for Kavz avocado oil. I think it's available in places like Shamba Cafe. I haven't seen it at the supermarket yet. But again, if you're buying avocado oil, please look at the ingredients and make sure it's pure avocado oil. Because a lot of these, I think there's a number of new companies now who are claiming it's avocado oil. But when you look at the ingredients, it's actually a blend of different oils. It's not just pure avocado oil. So Kavz is the one that I know is 100% pure cold pressed virgin avocado oil, which is like the best quality avocado oil that you can get. So look out for that wherever you are. And if you did want some, you can always contact me later. I can share the contact, or maybe a lot of the products I talk about. Feel free to contact me at a later date, and I can share the numbers with you, or I can maybe put together something and share it with someone after. Okay, so just a little splash of our oil. Again, with oil, you don't actually need a lot for cooking with. People often think, you need a lot of oil to cook spices in or to cook whatever you're cooking in, but you don't actually need a lot. So we have our oil already heated up in the pan there, and we're going to use cumin seeds, so jeera seeds basically, to do our baharins. You can put like a nice big teaspoon of jeera seeds in there. And then a little bit of ginger. So just a little splash of ginger in there. So if you do use onion and garlic, you can add onion and garlic to this recipe as well. We're just using a bit of ginger and jeera here. So just get that cooking nicely. And then I've got my tomato puree ready here. So this is about 5 or 6 tomatoes just kind of pureed down to a juice. And we're going to put that in now. So with tomato sauces, whether it's for an Indian curry or whether it's for a pasta sauce or a pizza sauce, the trick with fresh tomatoes is that the longer you leave them to cook, the more flavorsome they become. So as they cook, a lot of the water obviously evaporates and the tomato gets more concentrated. So you're really kind of enhancing the flavors of the tomato, and whatever spices you put in there, you're really enhancing all these flavors the longer you cook them. So with all my kind of curries and tomato-based sauces, I just like to kind of get them cooking, and then I leave them like on a low to medium heat to simmer for quite a long time. So that's what we're going to do here. For as long as time permits us, we will just keep these cooking nicely. So we'll also put all the spices in, because again, with the spices, the longer you leave them in with the sauce, the longer they will, the more flavorsome they become. So let's just get everything in, and then I'll talk to you a little bit about protein, about tofu and why it's a healthier alternative for us than paneer. Okay, so we're going to use a lot of our Indian spices now to make it a really nice curry. So you can go ahead and put, again, with measurements, we don't have to be sort of very exact in using the measuring spoon or, whatever you're used to, just use that. So about half a teaspoon of harder is going in. And then 1 teaspoon of ground jeera powder. So sort of a nice full teaspoon here. Yeah, so again, if you like your curries and things very flavorsome, please feel free to add more spices. And if you kind of like things a little bit more bland, then just add a little bit less. These measurements are kind of just a guide, or, the measurements that kind of work for my cooking and my family's preference, but please adjust according to your preferences. And then we have 1 teaspoon of dana jeera. So that's ground jeera and ground dana, coriander, mixed together. So I'm always going to add a little bit more. And then we have garam masala. So 1 teaspoon of garam masala. So lots of really nice flavors coming together here. And then finally, curry powder. So we're quite lucky in Nairobi again to have a lot of options here. I think this is, this is locally made as well. I really like this brand, Nature's Own. They do a lot of nice different types of spice mix. They have a tandoori spice mix, garam masala, curry powder, pilau masala. They do lots of different ones, and they're all kind of slightly different with what's in them. So according to what you're cooking, you can just use the appropriate one. But this is a really nice sort of curry powder, which I find goes well in this particular curry. And then chili. So you can add fresh chilies, or you can just use chili powder. Again, please adjust according to your preferences. And then finally, a little bit of salt. Just really to get everything cooking together nicely. With salt, we can always kind of adjust a bit later as well. So about 3/4 teaspoon, half a teaspoon of salt. So let's give that a nice good mix. You can smell all the spices kind of coming together. And what we'll do, just leave that on a low to medium heat. And then we'll just come back to that a little bit later. So just leave that cooking. Okay, are there any questions up to now?
Someone asked,
Yeah.
what is spelt flour?
what is spelt flour? So spelt, like I mentioned, it's an ancient grain. So it's just another kind of a grain like wheat or rye or barley or oats. It just looks like an actual grain, and it's ground up to make a flour, just like how wheat grains are ground up to make a flour. So that's just what it is. It's available again everywhere. Like I've seen it in supermarkets, in Healthy You, Indian ration stores as well. It's available everywhere now. So look out for it. You can get white spelt flour and whole grain spelt flour as well. I'm just gonna put this here. Yeah, you can get white or whole grain as well. So always go for whole grain varieties. With things like grains, always go for whole grain rather than the more refined white counterparts. Because again, with whole grains, they've used the whole grain and ground it up, which is really important because with the white varieties, what they do is they remove the outer layer, the husk layer of the grain. And actually there's a lot of important vitamins and minerals present in that outer layer, like fiber, magnesium, zinc, B vitamins. A lot of these things are present in the outer layer. So when they're removing that and only giving you the inside, like the very refined white kind of grains, that's not as nutritious for us as the whole grain varieties. Same with brown rice. If you can switch to brown rice, it's a lot more healthier than our white rice that we get. Yeah, so that's spelt. You can look out for that. Any other questions to this point? No? Okay, so we'll leave that cooking. What we're going to do, we're going to leave the tomato sauce cooking for a little while before we add the peas in, because the peas will cook in about 20 minutes or so. So we'll give the tomato sauce about 20 minutes or so to cook a little bit. Then we'll add the peas in and let it cook for a little bit longer, and the peas will just cook in the sauce. So we'll leave that for now. Yeah, tofu. Let me talk to you about tofu. So tofu is a really nice, again, versatile product that we can use, and it's a great alternative to paneer, or anytime you need kind of like a cheesy kind of thing. Instead of using cheese or ricotta and things, we can actually substitute tofu in a lot of these dishes. It's lower in fat and lower in calories than paneer, and also it's higher in protein than paneer as well. It's also more filling as well, so a little piece, will keep you fuller for longer. So if you're like trying to watch your weight, or you're trying to do any weight sort of management, tofu is a great thing to include into your diet. So like I said, you can use it in lots of ways. It's actually made from soya milk. So soya beans are made into soya milk, and the soya milk is coagulated and then pressed into like a curd basically, and then formed into these white blocks that we then buy. So it's quite similar to the cheese making process, the way that they make tofu. It's naturally gluten-free. Like I mentioned, it's lower in calories, and also it has no cholesterol. So we know paneer obviously is a dairy product, and so it's going to be higher in saturated fat. Saturated fat is sort of the unhealthy fats which actually increases our cholesterol levels, our bad cholesterol levels. And so using tofu where there's no cholesterol is a much healthier alternative. It's also a good source of calcium, iron, magnesium, and it contains phytoestrogens. So these are plant compounds basically, which protect against some forms of cancer, against heart disease and osteoporosis as well. So I know there's a lot of talk about people saying, oh, but if you eat too many soya products, too much tofu, there's an increased risk of like breast cancer, and it's not good for men to eat too much tofu. There's all these things kind of flying around. But what I want to emphasize here is how much tofu are you going to eat? Like you would need to eat bucket loads of tofu to have any of those kind of side effects. If you're having a small piece of tofu once or twice a week, that's going to be absolutely fine. That's really not going to have any sort of harmful effects. So when they say overconsumption, literally you have to eat bucket loads of tofu to have those kind of effects. But because it's a natural plant-based product, having it once or twice a week is absolutely fine and actually quite healthy to include in our diet. There's also isoflavones found in soya, which are helpful for lowering the bad cholesterol as well. It's a complete dietary protein as well. So it has all 9 of our essential amino acids. Now these are our building blocks of protein. So if you are going to the gym and you're looking to kind of bulk up or want more protein in your diet, tofu is a nice way to do it because it's a whole complete protein. Yeah, and like I said, you can use it in lots of different ways. So you can make it soft, you can make it crispy. You can actually use the soft tofu in desserts as well to give like that creamy texture, to make mousses, cheesecakes. You can actually use tofu to do these things as well. And there's so many different ways and cuisines that we can use tofu in. For example, this is an Indian cuisine we're doing. It's very popular in Thai dishes, in Chinese dishes. I actually buy some really nice soft basil tofu from a company called Hey Vegan. Again, anyone interested, I can share the contacts. It's a really, really lovely fresh tofu that they make. It's on order, they deliver straight to your doorstep, and they have a couple of different flavors, a few different flavors. So they do a nice plain tofu, which is nice and soft. So when I need soft tofu, like to crumble into dishes and things, I use the Hey Vegan brand. They do a nice basil tofu as well, which I like to use instead of as a ricotta cheese. Because I'm vegan, I don't use any sorts of cheese or anything. But for baked dishes like cannellonis and things, I actually use this basil tofu, which you kind of crumble and use as a ricotta. So I can share that contact. Another nice company is M Tofu. So we're just going to use, for today's dish, I've got the M Tofu one because the tofu is a little bit firmer. So you don't have to press out the water. It's already quite firm, this one. So for dishes like this, where I want kind of that paneer kind of a feel, I do tend to use the M Tofu brand. But if you want a softer tofu to do like desserts or anything, to crumble, I use the Hey Vegan one. So again, lots of nice options in Nairobi. We are getting spoiled for choice here as well now. So yeah, I'll share the contacts anyway later.
There's a question.
Yeah.
Is tofu okay to eat if one has underactive thyroid condition?
Like I said, once or twice a week, it's absolutely fine. It's it's not going to cause a problem once or twice a week. There's nothing in there which would do any damage as such, unless you're literally eating bucket loads of tofu. I'd be a bit concerned, but a small piece, a few cubes, once or twice a week is absolutely fine. Yeah. Okay, I forgot to mention in this for this curry as well. So today we're only using peas and tofu. Yeah, peas and tofu to make it like a matar paneer. But you can add literally again any veggies to this. So a little bit of sweet corn, some mushrooms also taste really nice in this curry, and some palak. You could actually substitute the matar for palak and do like do a palak tofu paneer kind of thing as well. So lots of different variations. Whatever you want to use, you can just kind of throw them in. Again, a very versatile dish that you can do lots with.
Another question.
Yeah.
Where do I buy firm tofu?
Okay, so the M Tofu as well. I've seen it at a few places. I think in Sarit, that's the Hey Vegan. I think Zucchini sells it, but again, if you order it directly from them, they deliver it right to your doorstep within a day or so. So the M Tofu, the spelling is M-T-O-F-U. I might have one here. Let me just show you. I've got both the brands here actually. I'll just grab them and show you. So this is the Hey Vegan one, and this is the green fairy. It's called. That's the basil flavored tofu.
So this is not firm.
This is the nice soft one, but if you press the water out of this one, so if you wrap it up in some kitchen towel and then put a heavy weight on it and press it out for 1 hour, it does firm up as well. So it's again a nice one to use to kind of do stir fries and things with. But if you're in a rush and you don't have time to press, or you've kind of left it last minute and forgotten to press the water out, then the M Tofu one is a nice one just to use because it's really firm already. So M Tofu, they do a nice natural flavor. They have a smoked flavor. So if you want to ever barbecue your tofu or use it as, for different kinds of things, they do a smoked flavor. They have a chorizo flavor as well. So that's the M Tofu. And the Hey Vegan one, they have a plain one. They have the green fairy basil one, and they do a sun-dried tomato and olive one as well, which is really lovely to just chop into pieces, stir fry, shallow fry a little bit in a bit of oil, just so it crisps up a bit, and then put it into salads. That one tastes really good like that. So those are kind of the two, they're the nicest ones I find in Nairobi. Okay. So let's just preheat our ovens now and get them ready for our crisp bread. So crisp bread will take some time to cook. So just switch on your ovens if you are cooking along. Just switch them on to 180 degrees Celsius. Sorry, make it 150. We're going to cook it longer on a lower heat. So about 150, 160 degrees. And just let your oven preheat. Okay, so let's do this. Before we move on to the crisp, actually we'll do the crisp bread first and then we'll put the rooibos tea on. Don't forget to keep stirring your tomato sauce here as well. You'll see the water is starting to kind of evaporating, and your sauce should be thickening up a little bit now. So it's nicely bubbling away, nicely thickening up. So just give that a good stir. Okay, so we can just get if you have a nice big baking tray like this, for the seed, sorry, we're going back to the seed crisp bread before we put the rooibos tea on. And we'll just move over here just to oil our trays, and then I can talk to you about the crisp bread again. So just pour a little bit of oil. And using the fingers or using a brush, just make sure the whole of the base is nicely oiled so the crisp bread doesn't stick onto the bottom. Give that a nice stir, give that a nice sort of oiling down there. And then we'll just check on our dough and see how it's doing. It has been about kind of half an hour now. So it should have formed a nice dough. Let's have a look. Yeah, so mine's actually become quite firm now. Hopefully yours has too. If it's still quite runny, if your dough is still too runny, then you can add a little bit more of the oats or a little bit more flaxseed, ground flaxseed, because both of those will help to soak up some of the water. So if you feel your dough is kind of still a bit runny, it should be quite thick now, almost like a biscuit dough or like a bread dough kind of. So if your dough is ready, we can go ahead and place it onto our tray. And then we're going to leave that in the oven for a good sort of 45 minutes or so, just so all the water again dehydrates. So the dough kind of dehydrates, releases all the water, and crisps up to become a nice crispy base for us to use for our chaat. So just go ahead and press that down really nice and thin. And then after it's cooked, we can break it up into nice small pieces to use as our chaat crisp bread. So just spread it out. It might be easier to do this with your fingers. Just get it as thin as possible. The thinner it is, the quicker it will cook as well. So really just try and kind of spread it out nice and thin. It doesn't have to be any sort of perfect shape or anything, because remember, we're going to break it up anyway. So just spread it out. The middle kind of tends to get a little bit thick, so spread it out there as well. Okay. So you'll see the chia seeds have kind of swelled up a little bit to form like a gel. So that's how we want them to be. And then the other seeds, like the pumpkin seeds, sunflower seeds, will still be quite whole, which is quite nice because they give like a nice bite and a nice crunch to it. So it takes a little bit of time, but just make sure it's really nice and thin, because you will enjoy it better the thinner it is. Any other questions while we do this? Yeah, feel free to put your questions into the chat. Okay, so once that's done, if your ovens are preheated already, we can just pop them into the oven and then set your timer for about 45 minutes or so. And then we'll check on them probably just as we're finishing up. As thin as possible. Okay. Right, I think
we have a question.
Yeah.
Question is, can we roll this in between 2 sheets of parchment paper?
Yeah, you could. You could. It might be a little bit sticky. As you can see, it's sticking between my hands. So rolling it might kind of cause it to stick on both, on the top end of the parchment paper. So you might have trouble pulling the top end off. I kind of always find it easier with my hands, but you can try. You can maybe, I could have probably made this dough a little bit less sticky as well. I could have probably added a bit more of the oats or the spelt or the ground flaxseed. But yeah, if it's a slightly firmer dough, you can. Okay, so let's get that into the oven. Hopefully your ovens are preheated. All right, so let's get that in here. So about 150 to 160 degrees. I'm just going to leave that to nicely brown up. So set your timers, please. If you have them. Okay. Right. Okay. Let's just give our tomato sauces a nice mix as well. So that should really be thickening up nicely. We can go ahead and add our peas into there now as well, actually. So if you're using peas or any other veg, go ahead and add that in now. So with peas, I know you can get fresh garden peas, but I actually like to use these Heinz peas because they're really nice and small and they cook pretty quickly. So you don't need to pressure cook them or anything. They just cook really nicely just in whatever dish you're using. So go ahead and put about 2 cups of peas into your dish. And then give that a nice stir. If your tomato is too thick and you feel there's not enough water, you can add a little bit of water and then just let it keep cooking. Add a little bit more there. Okay. So we'll just leave that to cook now with the peas. And I'm sure you can start to really smell all the flavors of the masalas coming out now as well. Okay, so just cover that up, leave it on a same low to medium heat. And we'll continue with the rest of the things. Okay, so let's get the tea boiling and then we'll do the chaat masala. So rooibos tea. So you can have, so rooibos tea is actually known as the red bush tea and it's native to South Africa. It's a great alternative to sort of black tea, to coffee as well, because it's caffeine free. So it's not going to have that stimulating effect that caffeine has, which some people actually can't, well, a lot of people actually can't tolerate. So it's not going to have that kind of effect on you. So if you're looking for caffeine-free alternatives, this red bush tea is really, really nice. It has a sweet, sort of delicate, earthy flavor to it as well, which is really nice. And you can get lots of different flavors as well. So again, I think this is probably, yeah, from South Africa. This is a brand I like to use, Kenako, and they again do a lot of different flavors. So this is a plain one because we're going to be making our own flavors, but they do a vanilla one, they do a mixed berry one. I think they have a lemon mint, a green tea, a green version as well. So lots of nice flavors there that you can use. You can have it hot or cold, this drink. So we're actually going to boil it first with all the spices, because again, like I said, boiling the spices really enhances and brings out the flavors. So we're going to boil it first, and then you can either have it hot straight away, or you can leave it to cool and then maybe put some ice in it or stick it in the fridge for a while to become a nice iced kind of rooibos drink tea as well. So you can have it hot or cold. If you're having it hot, you can put a splash of milk in it. It tastes really nice and it feels like you're having just a nice tea. So yeah, that's the rooibos tea. It's also very high in antioxidants. So antioxidants are obviously very good for us. And yeah, is there a question? No. Okay, so antioxidants are very important to us to stop free radical damage. So this is damage happening to our cells constantly because of the environment, because of just lots of carcinogens and lots of things happening in our bodies. And so to stop this free radical damage, we need antioxidants. So fruit and vegetables have a lot of antioxidants, all the superfoods, all our spices even have antioxidants, a lot of good things in all these things we eat, and that's why we need antioxidants. They also help to prevent, antioxidants help to reduce the risk of conditions like diabetes, heart disease, and things like that as well. So yeah, lots of antioxidants in here. It's actually low in tannins as well. So tannin is a compound rather that's found in like red wine, black tea, and green tea as well. And tannins actually prevent the absorption of iron. So if we're drinking like a lot of tea or red wine basically with our meals, then we're actually going to be stopping a lot of the absorption of iron. So try and have your tea either 1 hour before or 1 hour after a meal. Try not to have it sort of straight before or straight after or with your meal, because you will prevent a lot of the absorption of iron. So this is great because it doesn't have the tannins, so it won't affect the iron absorption. It's also 0 calories, so people who are kind of looking for weight management or healthier drink alternatives, it is 0 calories. So really nice to kind of have that as well. Okay, so let's mix up our tea here. So like I said, we can have it hot or cold, but we're just going to boil it up with some of the spices. So we can put 1 or 2 tea bags depending how much you're making. And then we're going to put hot water in it just to get it boiling. So if you have some water boiled in the kettle, you can kind of just pop that in there. And then we'll leave it boiling for a little while. So if you like your tea is quite strong, you can put two tea bags in there. But if you like them quite mild, just add 1 tea bag. So we have to add a bit more. Okay, and then all the spices that we're going to be using. So I've just kept everything ready, measured out here. So lots and lots of really nice warming spices. So again, like I said, the spices that we have, and in our Indian food, we use a lot of spices, which is so great because they all have so many amazing properties. But just to quickly touch on some of the ones we're using. So I've got cloves, I've got a whole cinnamon stick, whole cardamom, ginger powder and nutmeg powder kind of mixed together, and star anise. So this is a really lovely, very fragrant spice, I guess, to use. And it gives that nice sort of licorice aftertaste. So all the spices, all of these ones anyway, or some of them actually, are very thermogenic. So what thermogenic means is it helps to speed up your metabolism. So adding like ginger, cinnamon to our drinks or making special drinks out of them is really good because it helps to speed up our metabolism. So if you're looking to lose a bit of weight and you're working out and training or watching your diet, but things are just not moving along, maybe try to include a little bit more of these thermogenic spices into your diet, and they might really help to start sort of speeding up, boosting your metabolism. They're also obviously great for the immune system, things like cloves and natural antifungal, antiseptic and natural antifungals as well. So cloves, like for toothache, is really, really good. It's a natural pain reliever and quite good antiseptic as well. So if you have sort of any inflammation or any infection in the mouth, just rubbing a bit of clove oil or clove on the area will really help to help with the pain and the infection. Cinnamon is also very good for blood control, blood sugar level control, I should say. So adding like a little bit of cinnamon to your porridge in the morning or to your smoothies is a great way to help balance out your blood sugar levels. So with cinnamon, I've mentioned this before in my intros. There are 2 types. There is a cassia version and the Ceylon cinnamon. The cassia one is the sort of most common one that we get from like India and China, I should say. And the Ceylon one is the one from Sri Lanka, which is actually the most sort of pure one. So if you can get your hands on Ceylon cinnamon, that is really the best one to use. Sort of very long term, if you're eating large amounts of cassia, again, I mean like very large amounts of the cassia version, they have been shown to cause some liver effects. So it's always best to try and get your hands on the Ceylon version, just to kind of prevent any of these effects. I haven't actually found any Ceylon cinnamon in Nairobi. I do tend to kind of bring it back from the UK if I get the chance to go there. But yeah, look out for Ceylon cinnamon rather than the cassia version. Okay, so obviously we know very good for inflammation. If you have like any joint pain, ginger and turmeric together are very, very good because they help with inflammation and they help with pain as well. So if you suffer from osteoarthritis or anything like that, make a nice warm drink with sort of half a teaspoon or a teaspoon of ginger powder or fresh ginger even, and fresh turmeric even is really good. It's gonna help you a lot. So all the spices, we're just gonna chuck them in now. And then just switch your tea onto a low heat and we'll just leave that brewing while we carry on with everything else. So let's give that a nice stir. And we'll just leave that brewing and then we'll come back to it in a little while. Okay, so our faludo should be, sorry, I will go back to the faludo and finish that off. So if you have a look at your vermicelli, it should have softened up really nicely now. Because like I said, I was using the roasted one, which is already kind of half cooked. It's nice and soft. So I'm going to go ahead and put a little dollop of that. And then we'll just finish off our faludo and put it in the fridge to chill nicely. Okay, so give that a good stir. So have a little taste of it. Remember, it's not going to be sweet yet because the sweetness is going to come from the ice cream. We don't actually need to add any other sweetener in it yet because once we put the ice cream in, I feel it's going to be sweet enough. If you did want it sweeter, you can always use a little bit of maple syrup, a little bit of honey, rather than sugar or sugar syrups. So much healthier options are maple syrup or honey. Coconut nectar is also a nice sweetener that you can use, a very natural sweetener. It's lower GI, so the glycemic index is lower of coconut nectar rather than sugar. So if you are suffering from diabetes, but you still want to add a little bit of something to your tea or coffee or to your food, coconut nectar is a really nice option. I will show you which one I use as well. So this is the brand I use here. Again, it's my friend who provides this. If you want the contact, I can always share it. It's Afroganics Coconut Nectar. And it says here, low glycemic vegan sweetener. So I use this in baking. If I need to sweeten anything, this is a really nice option to use. Okay, so we're going to put this in the fridge to chill. But before we do that, just have a little taste. And see if there's anything that you'd like to add more or less of. So I'm actually going to add a little bit more rose water to mine, just because I love the flavor of rose. Remember, once it's chilled and once the ice cream is in, it's going to taste like that nice healthy faludo. If you put too much raspberry juice in there and it's tasting a little bit tart or sour, you can add some sort of sweetener or just wait till you add the ice cream and see how sweet it is for you. But here I'm going to add just a little more drop of rose water and then we'll put it into the fridge to chill. And then once you're ready to serve, you can go ahead and put your ice cream in and then just garnish with a little bit of chopped almonds and pistachios. And there you have it, a nice healthy faludo. So again, the chia seeds should have swelled up a little bit and form like nice little balls. So chia seeds are actually the same family as takmuria. So the takmuria that we actually use in faludo. You can actually use those if you don't have chia seeds. You can use takmuria as well. That's fine. Healthy still. Okay, we can't seem to get the rose water open. That's fine. So just stick your faludo in the fridge, and then once you're ready to serve, you can finish that off later. Just put your ice cream in, little garnish of little garnish of almond and pistachio, and then you have your healthy faludo. Just going to pop that into the fridge now. Okay, so let's give our tomato sauce a good mix again. So that should be fairly thick now. These are cooking nicely. Right, and your tea should be brewing away nicely as well. Right, so switch these. While that's happening, let's get our chaat mixture ready. So again, just heat up a little saucepan, and we're just going to do the baghar for the chaat masala now. So again, chaats are very sort of versatile things. You can kind of use, really anything that you like. If you look like when I was trying to figure out this recipe, I just Googled Chaat and there was like 100 different things which came out. So I kind of got the impression that Chaat is basically just a mixture of different ingredients all put together. And then you have your spices that you can use. Again, you can vary that up how you want. So today we're going to do like a sweet corn chaat to put on our crisp bread. So we're going to do the baghar of the sweet corn, and then we have some nice extra bits to mix in after our sweet corn is cooked and cooled. And then we'll break up the crisp bread once it's done and put little dollops of our mixture onto the little pieces of crisp bread. And then you can just garnish it like a normal chaat. You can put a little bit of yogurt, a little bit of ambli or kattu on it, some chili sauce, green or red chili sauce, and then a little sprinkle of sev or something if you like. But the crisp bread should be crispy as well. But if you like that extra crunch, just a little sprinkle of something on top. That's what we're going to do. Okay, so again, we're heating up our avocado oil here. And then we will just do a baghar. I didn't put this in the recipe, but I'm going to put some whole jiru in there as well. So we'll start with whole jiru and a little bit of ginger. You can use fresh chopped chili as well. I'm going to mild. So if the kids are having it and they can't have a lot of chili, you can keep it mild. But if you want to use fresh green chili, you can use that now. So once the oil is nice and hot, you can put in your jiru. I'm going to add a little bit of hing as well, because I love hing in all my food, and like I said, it's good for digestion. A little sprinkle of hing. And then once your seeds are sizzling away nicely, go ahead and put the ginger in. Your corn should already be cooked. Hopefully you've pre-cooked your corns. I've just cooked mine in the pressure cooker. You can make this recipe, it doesn't really matter. But you do need to pre-cook it. It's already softened. And then now we're just adding the flavors to it. Okay. Once your ginger is cooked a little bit, you can go ahead and add the corn. Quite a lot of corn here. I might actually add a little bit to my to the tofu butter, which I'll do at the end. There's a lot here. Okay, to give that a nice good mix. We'll add a little bit of salt to it now as well. And then we'll add all the masalas in here. Just cook that for a few minutes. So a little bit of salt. Give that a good mix. Okay, so the spices we're going to add here are so cumin powder, the jiru, some ground jiru. Again, please adjust according to your likings. So about 1 teaspoon of jiru, and black pepper. Black pepper just adds a little bit of kick to it. Black pepper actually has also a substance called bioperine in it, and it helps us to absorb a lot of the nutrients from our food. So a lot of the vitamins, minerals, this extract, bioperine, really helps us to absorb that. So a little sprinkle of black pepper into all your food is actually quite a good idea. It will help you to absorb your vitamins and minerals. A lot of supplements as well, you'll see, will have bioperine or black pepper extract in it. And again, it's purely there for the reason to help you absorb all the vitamins and minerals. Okay, chili powder. A little sprinkle of chili. Again, if you're using the fresh chili, that's fine too. And then chaat masala. is that famous Sandwiza masala that I actually picked up from India. If you guys have been to India, you'll know of the friendship sandwiches there. This is the spice mix they use in there, and it's quite a nice one to use as a chaat masala. Get your hands on it. Otherwise, again, I think this company or some of the other companies in the supermarkets here do actually do a specific say chaat masala on it. So just look out for that in the supermarkets. But it's again just a mixture of different spices really. So this one, for example, has cumin seeds, black pepper, rock salt, fennel, bay leaf, and cloves. So we've already added cumin and black pepper, so a little bit more will go in. Rock salt is sanchar. So that's got that sort of nice, very sulfury smell and taste to it. And it goes really well with these kinds of dishes. So it's quite strong, this one. So I'm going to put like maybe just less than about 1 teaspoon. Okay. And then, so once that's cooked after sort of 5-10 minutes, what we'll do is we'll add some lemon juice to it, and then we'll add the rest of the veggies that we've got ready chopped up here. We'll add those things to it here. Remember, we're going to be adding quite a few other things, so make sure your masalas are kind of enough. If you need to add a little bit more of anything, we can always add it in later as well. Otherwise, what we'll do is just leave that to cook on low heat for just a few minutes. Any questions yet? Anything in the chat?
Yeah, can we use masala?
Yeah, that's what you're supposed to use, chaat masala. Yeah, I was just using the Sandwiza one because I didn't manage to get any chaat masala, but yes, that is what you're supposed to use. Okay. Right, so we have our tofu paneer still kind of cooking away. It's also cooking here, and your tea should be nicely boiling. You can have a smell of your tea and you'll really smell kind of all the spices coming through. And then we can quickly check on the crisp bread as well. Just have a quick look at your crisp bread. So it does take quite a while to cook. I don't know if you can see it, but it is starting to brown up a little bit. Oops. Yeah, so we'll leave that in a little bit longer. Okay, so we are doing quite a lot of time. We're pretty much through 1st of May. Let's just finish up with just check if your peas are cooked. Let's have a quick look and see if the peas are cooked. The faluda is done. Tea is brewing away. And we'll just finish off here with our curry here, the tofu paneer. So because I'm using the small garden peas, they're almost cooked. But like I said, with tomato sauces, the longer you leave them to cook, the better. But you can also now put your tofu in, just so it starts to catch flavor as well. So just throw in your tofu pieces. Give that a good stir. So the flavors again will seep into the tofu nicely. And we'll just leave that cooking for a little bit longer. Okay, so once the tomato is cooked a little bit more, you can then go ahead and add in your coconut cream into the dish. So again, with coconut cream, there's been a lot of bad press again about coconut. You know, that it's a bad saturated fat and it increases cholesterol levels, or it's naturally high in cholesterol. But actually, coconut oil is a medium chain triglyceride. So what this means is that it is a saturated fat, but it's a healthier kind of saturated fat, which the body actually uses up as energy first, rather than storing it as fat. So with our saturated fat from things like dairy products, deep fried foods, red meats, all of these saturated fats are actually are the harmful ones, which raise our LDL, our bad cholesterol. But coconut actually doesn't do that. It's used up quickly as energy and it's not stored. And actually, it doesn't have a lot of cholesterol as well. So it is a healthier to use than single cream. So I like to use coconut cream in a lot of my products. This is the one this is another local one that I use. I think it's local. Yeah, it's imported. It says imported and distributed by a company in Kenya. But this is a nice one because again, with a lot of the coconut creams and milks that you find in the can, you will see they have a lot of preservatives and E numbers and lots of things in them. This one is actually 99.7% coconut extract, which is quite good, meaning that only 3% is the other stuff, which I guess they have to put some of it in. But if you're looking for like a really, really pure brand, there's the Biona brand, which you can get in. Let me just grab that. So if you're looking for something very pure, there's this Biona coconut milk, and they do a cream as well, which is literally just coconut and water. There's nothing else in this one. So it is obviously a little bit more expensive than what you'll find in the supermarket, but if you're kind of really trying to stick from all the additives and extra stuff, this is a nice one to have. And yeah, this is the Cara one. He said it's not bad. So they do a coconut milk and a coconut cream as well, both available in supermarkets. So yeah, like I said, I like to use this to give that sort of creaminess to a lot of curries and stuff. I use it for a lot of Thai food. When we need to make Indian things creamy, I guess, then you can use this as well. What else about coconut? Yeah, so it's to kind of add this to things. For desserts as well, I should mention, it's really, really nice to use instead of like single cream, double cream. If you want to whip it, there is a process if you want to whip coconut cream. So what you have to do, because it's quite liquidy, what you have to do is you have to put the cream into the fridge. And when you put it in the fridge, what happens is the solid fatty layer goes to the top, like settles at the top or sets at the top, and the watery layer goes to the bottom. So you leave it in the fridge for like a couple of hours for that process to happen. And then you scoop off the top fatty bit and you can whip that. So when you whip that, it becomes like a whipping cream. And then you can use it the same way as you would your double cream that you've whipped. So that's quite a nice trick to use if you are looking for that. I'm not going to add my coconut cream yet into my curry because I'm going to leave my curry to cook for much, much longer. But just to point out at the end, you would just put in your half a cup of coconut cream into your curry and then just garnish with a little bit of coriander then. And just garnish with that. So that's the curry done then. And you can enjoy that with some jeera rice, with some naan or roti, whatever you like. You can enjoy it with that. You'll see the color is quite sort of red and rich at the moment. You can see it's quite a sort of very red, rich tomatoey color. Once you add the coconut cream, it becomes much lighter and that really nice sort of creamy color. So whenever you feel your tomatoes cooked enough, you can add that in. We can switch off our corn as well. So just switch off your corn on the cob that's been cooking with all the spices. We can try it later once everything else is mixed in, but just take that off the heat and let it cool for now. And what we'll just do, just to finish up here, is we can just check on our tea. So I'm just going to show you that it actually looks like a proper black normal tea. So you can take the heat off that. And we can just have a look here. So you can see it looks like a beautiful sort of masala black tea that you would have. I'm going to pour it into a glass and just show you with a little splash of milk in it that it really does just feel like a normal tea. So you can just sieve it. If you don't want the whole spices in there, you can just sieve it here. And then the nice splash of almond milk. Got yourself a nice cup of rooibos tea. See, so it looks like just a normal cup of tea, caffeine free, but still somehow rooibos has this natural uplifting properties. Somehow, like even when I had caffeine, when I used to have a glass of this, mug of this rather, literally I would feel like I've had something with caffeine because it just gives you that natural lift and that natural buzz, and it just kind of wakes you up. So it's really nice to have in the morning. And you can really smell all the spices in there beautifully as well. So that's the tea. If you wanted to have it cold, you can just sieve it or leave the spices in there if you want. They'll just brew a little bit more. Stick it in the fridge, let it cool down, and put some ice cubes in it, and you can have it like a nice cold drink as well. So that's the tea done. Just check on the crisp bread quickly, and I think we might have to just finish up. Yeah, the crisp bread's going to take a little bit longer. So if you have got your crisp bread cooking in the oven, leave it for as long as you need just to make sure it's really kind of golden brown and crispy. Once it's golden brown and crispy, take it out of the oven and just leave it to cool. Don't try to break it up when it's still warm because it won't work. So let it just cool fully properly outside, and then just break it up into little pieces, like little squares or little whatever, irregular pieces. And then we'll just mix up our chaat masala here. So this is like a really nice colorful chaat that you have, because you've got the yellow from the sweet corn and then all the other things that we're putting in. Empty your sweet corn with something. It's quite hot still. Okay. So if you have some lemon, you can put in a squeeze of lemon. So just a little bit there. And then we'll mix in the rest of the ingredients, have a little taste, and see if we need to add any more of anything, any spices or anything. So a nice big squeeze of lemon. So lemon actually is very high in vitamin C, as we know, and vitamin C is very good portion of iron. So again, adding lemon to our salads or anything that we're eating that's quite high in iron, any greens or reds, or generally anything dark colored is high in iron. So things like blackberry, beetroot, spinach, any of these kind of very dark colored foods, you know, all our green leafy veg basically are very high in iron. So if you are eating any of those kind of things, just add a little dash of lemon to it, and that really helps with the absorption of iron. You can also add things like tomatoes, peppers, which are also high in vitamin C with these things, so that we can absorb the most amount of iron in these. Okay, so it's the lemon. We can also go ahead and mix in some dhania. So a nice big handful of dhania into our chaat. Save a little bit for the garnishing for your curry. And then mixed in here, I've just got a mixture of tomatoes. So tomatoes chopped up nice and small, some cucumber, just all mixed together. So cucumber, which is really refreshing and gives a nice crunch. Some yellow peppers and red peppers as well. So again, like I said, with the chaat, you can literally mix anything into there. It's quite healthy as long as we, you know, if we're not having the deep fried things with it. It's actually quite a healthy thing to have. So give that a nice mix. You could even mix a little bit of coconut cream into this as well. Coconut yogurt. So I'll show you the brand that I use, or you can use it like at the end. So once you've laid out your chaat onto your crisp bread, like how you do sev puri, basically, putting a little dollop of yogurt. You could put a little coconut yogurt, and then, like I said, your ambli, a few drops of ambli, some chili sauce, and a little sprinkle of sev if you like. But it's just a really nice sort of healthy variation to chaat. So you can see all the colors in there, really sort of vibrant, nice, colorful looking thing. This would actually taste really nice just as a salad as well, just like this, you know, mixed in with some leaves, some green salad leaves. It would actually make a very refreshing salad as well. So once that's all mixed up, we can have a little taste of that. Again, you could add chopped onion to this if you like. If you do use onion in your household, you could add some freshly chopped onion into there as well. that's all ready. So have a little taste of your chaat mixture and see what it needs. Might need something, it might not. Yeah, that's good. So I think once the ambli comes in and the chili sauces, I think that's just perfect. The measurements are good. I might just add a little bit more chaat masala, just to give it that extra something. Just a little bit more of that. Okay, let me quickly show you the coconut yogurt that I would use to dollop on this. I know that the crisp bread is still cooking, so I can't kind of show you the final display. What I can actually do is just show you maybe on another little cracker that I have, just so you kind of know how to display it. Okay, so that's all mixed up. So this is the coconut yogurt that I like to use. Again, it's non-dairy, locally made. It's actually made by Bio. And it's literally, again, just coconut and water made into kind of a nice thick yogurt, a little bit of live culture in there to give it that yogurt consistency. Yeah, so really nice one. They have flavored ones as well. They do mango, they do pineapple, a tropical one as well. So it's really nice to have with a bit of granola or something as well. Okay, before I show you how to display that, let's just give our curry a little mix. So I need to add a bit of water to mine. It's actually sticking. I'm just going to add a little bit of water here. And we'll leave it cooking this for a little bit longer. Okay, so just a splash of water. I think I will actually add the coconut cream as well, just to add more liquid and just so you can kind of see what the color should look like. And then we'll do the final display of the chaat bread. And then if you have any questions, you can ask away. So half a cup of the coconut cream just going in now. So again, you can add a little bit more, a little bit less, however you like your curries. About half in there. Just let that cook up a little bit more. So you can see already the color changed and it's looking much more like a nice creamy Indian curry. It's a little bit watery because I just added more water, because I'm going to leave that to cook for at least another 15-20 minutes to really get those flavors in. Okay, so let's leave that to thicken a little bit more. And let me just show you the final display. You can sip on your nice tea before it goes cold if you're having it warm. Some space in. So that was my buzzer going off to the crisp bread, but I think it's a little longer. Just come over here to have a look. But still not quite brown. So you can see the edges are a little bit brown, but the center not quite. So I'm just going to give it another 10-15 minutes in here. I don't know if you can see the colors there, but yeah, the edges look okay, but we're just going to give it another 5 minutes or so. 5-10 minutes. In the meantime, I'll just show you on another piece of cracker thing to do a display. So use ambli, tamarind, some yogurt, some dhania for garnish. Okay. So, sorry, my handy's a little bit frozen. So it's going to be frosted here. So ambli again is made from the tamarind fruit. And again, if we're not using sugar to sweeten, but if we sweeten with dates, natural dates, it's actually again a nice healthy thing to use in some of our foods. Actually quite high in vitamin C, I believe, tamarind. Naturally quite high in vitamin C. Right, so I've got these little crisp breads here, which is kind of what ours will look like. So what you'll be doing is you'll just break them up into little pieces, lay them out like this. Okay, and then just pop a little spoonful onto each one. Okay, so just a little spoonful of mixture into one. Like this. So just like that. And then you can already see all the nice vibrant colors coming through. A little dollop of your yogurt. It's quite thick, the yogurt, so you can water it down a little bit if you want to, or you can leave it as it is. Really nice and refreshing in this hot weather as well. So a nice spoonful of the yogurt. And then a bit of the ambli. And then just to garnish, I'm not going to put sev on mine, just keep it really proper healthy. But if you do want a little sprinkle of sev or something, that's fine. A little garnish of dhania. And that is your healthy crisp bread chaat done. So really nice and easy, really quick to make. It's quite filling as well, especially once the seeds and things come in. Really kind of quite healthy and filling. Just and surprise all your family this Diwali with lots of new healthy things. So I think that's pretty much it. Your curry might still be cooking and your crisp bread might be cooking, but you know what to do with those now. That's basically it. So I hope you all enjoyed that. If you have any questions, please let me know. Feel free to contact me. I'm on Kavz Cuisine. I'm on Instagram, on Facebook. I can share Shilin, you can share my number on the channel. If anyone wants to just jot down my number, you can take down my number. He's just putting it on the chat now. So if you have any questions at all regarding anything, where any products we've used, where I got them from, please feel free to message me anytime. And hope you all enjoyed that, and really hope you can surprise all your family and friends this Diwali with some new things. I have a lot of recipes as well that I just share for free on Instagram, on Facebook as well. You'll find lots of healthy, vegan, vegetarian recipes on there. So please have a look on there. And yeah, do we have any questions? Happy to answer any questions anyone has. I hope was some of you cooking along? Can we see some of you who have been cooking along? I'm going to come around to the other side so I can see. Let me just turn my camera. Okay. So you can turn on your cameras now if anyone was cooking along. Can we have a look at and see what you guys have done? If you don't mind sharing. I'll just scroll along here.
Ita, we can help you cook, eat along, not cook along.
Yeah. Next time, hopefully we can do this in person at some point, and then we can all enjoy the food together.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, and you can also mention them that your recipes do come along in Avaz as well, in the Oshala.
Yes. Yeah. Thanks for mentioning that, Sonal. Yeah, so I do share some recipes in the Avaz magazine, so have a look there as well. So did anyone cook along? Or was everyone just watching? Anyone? No? Okay. Well, yeah, I mean, you have the recipes, so you can always try them at a later date. And yeah, do feel free to kind of message me and do share that you did try them and how they turned out. That would be great to know. Yeah, let me just see if there's anything in the chat.
Yeah, I think you do have some messages on chat box.
Have a look. Oh, thank you all for the lovely comments. Thank you so much. Thank you, Joy. Thank you, Jyoti. Thanks, Madhula. Thank you, Dilip Kumar. There's a butterfly. I'm not sure who that is. Thank you, butterfly. There is a lot of added sugar in the bio coconut yogurt. Which one are you talking about? The plain one doesn't have any sugar. If you look at the ingredients, it says coconut milk stabilizes life culture. Now, if you're looking at where it says sucrose, I know the flavored ones where it says sucrose, it will say like a certain, it will say 7.6 grams or whatever. But remember that will be coming naturally from fruit sugar. So if they've physically added sugar to the yogurts, they have to put it in the ingredients. I think by law, you have to list everything that's in the product on the ingredients list. So the ingredients list and the nutritional information table are two separate things. So you may see sugar in the nutritional information table, but not necessarily in the ingredients. Now, if you see it in the information table, that means that something in the product, like if it has fruit, for example, will naturally have some sugar in it. And that's why it has to come up in the nutritional table, but not in the ingredients. So like the mango one, of course, will have some sugar because has natural fruit sugar in it. So there will be a little bit of sugar coming up on the table in that sense. I hope that makes sense. But the plain one, definitely, it says carbohydrates, of which sucrose, it says 0 grams. So the plain one definitely doesn't have any sugar in it. Again, with the pineapple one or the tropical one, yes, sugar will appear in the table because those are natural fruit sugars. So I hope that makes sense. So my number's been shared there. Thank you, Nidhi. Thank you, Kilna. Thank you, Priti. Surjna, thank you, everyone. That's really nice comments and really nice to hear that. Hopefully we can do another one. If you guys have any ideas of like different themes or anything you would like to learn or cook or do, basically, please let Sonal know at Oshwell, and maybe we can arrange that together. But it's always great to get feedback from you guys and ideas from you. Like the Diwali was a nice one, but if there's anything else specific that you guys would be interested in, please let us know.
Okay, Kavita, do we want to wind up?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so on behalf of the office bearers, thank you very, very much. Unfortunately, being a Saturday afternoon, none of them were able to be online. But yes, we thank you loads for being on our platform all the time.
Thank you for inviting me, and look forward to the next one.
Yeah, super. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Bye, everybody. Thank you so much.